You know that feeling, that specific feeling. It's not quite fear, but it's definitely not comfort either. You walk into a room, maybe it's a work thing, maybe a party, and you're trying to look normal.
Right, holding your drink.
Exactly. And then it happens. Someone turns to you with that smile, and they drop the absolute worst question in history.
So,
Tell me about yourself.
oh, it's the universal freeze response. Everyone does it.
Everyone.
And it's so funny because logically, it should be the easiest question in the world. I mean, you are the world's leading expert on you.
But you've been there the whole time.
Yeah.
But my hard drive just completely wipes itself clean. I forget my job, my hobbies. I once panicked and just said, I like bread.
I like bread. That's a classic.
It's a disaster.
Well, it's the paradox of choice, right? You have like decades of data memories, likes, dislikes, and your brain is trying to cram it all into a 30-second clip that makes you sound interesting. Yep. It's cognitive overload.
Exactly. And that is why I was actually really skeptical when I saw the source for today's deep dive.
Right.
Looking at a transcript from Mr. English Channel. And let's be honest, on the surface, it just looks like a basic English learning dialogue. Two people, Paul and Emily, introducing themselves.
Yeah, I had the same reaction at first. I thought, are we learning to say hello today?
Right.
And this is but if you stop looking at it as a vocabulary lesson and start looking at it as a study in like social engineering, it's kind of brilliant.
Okay, that's the angle.
It's a masterclass in information hierarchy.
So we're not here for the grammar. We are here to steal the strategy. We are going to dissect how Paul and Emily go from being two random names to like three-dimensional people. Because they don't just dump facts, they curate them.
Yes. They build what I'd call a narrative architecture. They use these really specific building blocks where they live, their families, their pets, even their dislikes, to create hooks.
Handles.
They're literally handing the other person handles to grab onto in the conversation.
I love that. So let's reverse engineer this thing. We have Paul and Emily. How do they kick it off? Because most people start with their job title, which is, total conversation killer.
They don't do that. They start with physical context, demographics. But notice how they do it. It's not just a census report. Paul goes first. He says he's from the United States.
Okay, very broad.
But then he immediately zooms in. He says, I live in a small town. And then he drops this one amazing visual detail. He lives in a house with a garden. And then he says, I love gardens.
Okay, pause there. The garden. Why does that matter? If I'm meeting someone, do I really care about their horticulture situation?
You don't care about the plants, but you care about the vibe. Small town plus garden instantly paints a picture. It's quiet, it's peaceful, maybe a little traditional. He's established a personal brand before he's even said what he does for a living.
Okay, so it's scene setting. He's anchoring you in his world.
Exactly. And then Emily provides the perfect counterpoint. She's from Canada, lives in a big city, in a small apartment, and she describes it as very busy and very noisy.
And this is the key, she says, I love it.
Right. So right out of the gate, before we know anything else, we have this classic dynamic, the country mouse and the city mouse.
It's so true. Paul is the quiet garden guy. Emily is the hustle and bustle city person. It gives you a mental peg to hang their identity on.
Totally. It creates consistency. If you establish that brand, people feel like they can get a read on you.
Okay, so scene is set. Garden versus city. Then they moved occupation. Paul is 28, an English teacher.
And Emily is 25, an art student.
Now, this is where I usually zone out. I'm an accountant. I'm in sales. It feels like we're just trading business cards. But they do something a little different here.
They add an emotional tag. This is the big takeaway for you listening right now. Never just state your job title. It's boring. It tells us what you do, not who you are.
So Paul doesn't just say, I teach. He immediately follows up with, I love my job.
Yes. And Emily calls her art studies fun and creative.
Right.
That emotional layer, it just transforms everything. Paul isn't just a 9-to-5 guy. He's a passionate educator. Emily isn't just an unemployed student. She's a creative spirit.
That's a really powerful little shift. But, okay, I want to push back a bit on this next section. They move into family, siblings, parents. In a real networking event, isn't that a little intimate? Do I really need to know your brother's name is Tom and he's 29?
It's a fair question. In a really fast professional setting, maybe you skip it. But they're modeling a social introduction. They're trying to make a friend. And mentioning family, it grounds you. It shows you're not a lone wolf.
It makes you seem more human.
Exactly. And look at the details they choose. They're not random. Emily is clearly from what I'd call the creative tribe.
Oh, I saw that too.
She studies art. Her mother is a writer. There's a clear line there. It validates her own identity. It says, this is my lineage.
And Paul comes from the service tribe. He's a teacher. His mom is a teacher of little children. His dad is a doctor.
Teacher, doctor. It implies a value system of education, helping, stability. It makes sense.
But we have to talk about the dads, because this is the first moment where the polite back and forth actually breaks, and we get a real human reaction.
The chef dad moment. Yes.
Emily says her father is a chef in a restaurant.
And Paul, who's been this very nice, polite teacher guy, he immediately asks the most important question. Does he cook for you at home?
And when she says yes, and that it's always delicious, Paul just says, I am jealous.
That's such a real moment. Jealousy is a strong word, even if he's kidding. It's a hook. I might forget Emily is 25, but I will not forget her dad makes restaurant-quality food at home.
It's a conversation starter. What's the best thing he makes? It gives the other person something to do.
You're handing them a thread to pull. That's the whole game.
Okay, so moving on from humans, they get to the ultimate personality test, the pet divide.
The proxies for our personalities. It's almost a cliche, but it's a cliche because it's true.
So Paul, our small-town, garden-loving teacher, has a dog.
Of course he does. Max.
And listen to the words he uses for Max. Brown, small, happy, friendly, funny.
He's just describing himself, isn't he?
He really is. Happy, friendly, funny. That's the Paul persona. Dogs are that extroverted, loyal energy. It fits perfectly.
And then there's Emily, the artistic city dweller in the tiny apartment.
She has a cat.
Luna. Even the name is different. Max is a buddy. Luna is ethereal.
And the adjectives for Luna? Black and white. Quiet, elegant, sleepy. She says the cat sleeps all day.
Elegant. Who calls their pet elegant? An art student. That's who. It's perfect. It signals an appreciation for aesthetics.
And quiet makes sense for someone who lives in a noisy city, but probably needs a calm sanctuary at home.
It just solidifies the two archetypes. If you're listening, think about it. Are you a Max person or a Luna person? It tells people how you like to interact. Do you want to go for a run or do you want to sit and read?
Right. So speaking of what they like, they move into the favorite section. This can be so boring on like a dating profile. I like food and fun.
Groundbreaking.
But they manage to find personality here, too. They start with the great unifier, pizza.
Safe territory. Everyone likes pizza. It establishes common ground. But the specificity is where the personality is.
Paul likes vegetable pizza, tomatoes, peppers, onions.
Which Emily calls healthy. And she likes pepperoni, the classic.
But then she throws a curveball.
Yeah.
She says pizza is great, but her actual number one is pasta.
Now, I think this is interesting. Pizza is fast, casual, social. Pasta. It feels a little more culinary. Maybe a nod to her chef dad. It just feels slightly more, I don't know, refined.
That's a good read. Okay, then colors. Paul likes blue, like the sky, calm. Emily likes green, like nature, trees, grass.
Which is funny because she's the one living in the concrete jungle.
I thought the same thing. She lives in the city but craves green. Paul lives in the country but likes the open blue sky.
It shows what they need to feel balanced.
Okay, now hobbies. This is how they actually spend their free time. Emily paints, obviously, and she reads adventure stories.
Adventure stories. Think about that. Small apartment, sleepy cat, but in her head. She's on an adventure. That just screams introvert with a rich inner life.
Totally. Versus Paul, who listens to old rock music and plays soccer with his friends on Saturdays.
Social, active, nostalgic. He's outward-facing. She's inward-facing.
And yet, they find common ground again. They both love movies, specifically comedies and animated films.
Which tells us they both value laughter. They don't take themselves too seriously. You need that shared joy to build a connection.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of likes. But the source material makes a really interesting turn here, and honestly, I think this is the secret sauce. They talk about what they don't like.
The dislikes. This is so powerful. There's actually research on this. People bond more intensely over shared dislikes than shared likes. It feels like you're sharing a little secret.
So what makes our friendly teacher, Paul, angry?
Olives.
Just the taste. Can't stand them.
That's hilarious because it's so low stakes. He's not admitting to some deep character flaw. He just hates a garnish. But it makes him real. If he loved everything, he'd be a robot. I don't like olives. It's a safe, funny little bit of controversy. It invites a debate.
And Emily, what's her thing?
Spicy food. Very hot food is a definite no. Paul can handle a little spice, but she's out.
Those are food dislikes. But then they get into lifestyle dislikes, which I think are even more revealing. Paul hates waiting in long lines.
He calls it boring. which fits the active soccer guy. He wants stimulation. Standing still is the enemy.
And Emily,
She hates waking up very early.
I feel so seen.
She just admits it. I'm not a morning person. I love sleep. Remember her cat? That sleeps all day. She relates to her cat.
That is such a humanizing detail. If you just list your accomplishments, you sound like a LinkedIn profile. But if you say, I love painting, but don't ask me to do it before 10 a.m., suddenly I get you. I like you.
It's vulnerability. It says, I'm not perfect, and that makes you approachable. Perfection is intimidating. Hating mornings is relatable.
So we've broken down all the data points. Demographics, family, pets, likes, dislikes. The source wraps this all up with a formula, a template to solve that. Tell me about yourself. Panic.
Right. They boil it all down to a single sentence you can just keep in your back pocket. The formula is basically name plus Job plus a like plus a dislike.
It's so punchy. What's Paul's version in the summary?
His is, I am Paul, a teacher. I like dogs and pizza, but I don't like olives.
It works. It's memorable. It gives you an immediate hook.
And Emily's is, I'm Emily, a student. I love cats and pasta, but I don't like to wake up early.
You can't not respond to that. Oh, you hate waking up early. Me too. Or pasta. What kind? It forces a follow-up.
And the source makes a great point about context, too. You adjust the script. If you're in a class, maybe you mention why you're there.
Or at a party, hi, I'm Emily. I love music. You tailor the like to the room.
Exactly. You're giving people a handle. If you give them nothing, the conversation dies. If you give them way too much, they're overwhelmed. This formula is the sweet spot.
It really reframes the whole experience. I think most of us see, tell me about yourself, as a test. Like we have to prove we're interesting enough.
That's the anxiety talking. The source frames it differently, which I love. It's not a test, it's an invitation.
An invitation to what?
To connect. The other person isn't judging you. They're usually just as awkward as you are. They're just fishing for something, anything to talk about. When you drop that little piece of bait, I hate spicy food, you're helping them out.
That takes all the pressure off. You're not performing. You're just offering a hook.
Precisely. And think about how much we learned. We went from Paul from the U.S. to Paul, the rock music listening, olive hating, dog loving teacher. That specificity creates a real person in your mind.
It really does. You can picture his life. You can picture Emily in her apartment with her cat.
That's the power of building a narrative. When you introduce yourself, you're just telling the first little paragraph of your story.
So here's the challenge for you listening. Take a second right now. Stop dreading that question. Instead, build your own Paul or Emily formula.
Figure out your markers. What's your garden? What's your pasta?
But I think most importantly, you need to find your olives.
Yes, that is the key. We focus so much on the good stuff. I'm a hard worker, blah, blah, blah. What's the one dislike? Whether it's olives or slow walkers or early mornings, that instantly tells people who you really are.
It's that little bit of honesty. It cuts through all the noise.
Find your olives, use the formula, and the next time someone asks, don't freeze, just invite them in. Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.
Goodbye, everyone.